Think of it. This is it. This is the last one that we're going to have to do. And doing 4 of these in one day is a little difficult, but not really, because the love in every one of them has been incredible, just like this. So it makes it a lot easier.
We are all in this together. So Philadelphia, you ready to do this? Are we ready to vote? Are we ready to win?
Good morning and welcome to Rising. It is Election Day 2024. The long-awaited Day of Destiny is finally here, and I am just as relieved as I think Donald Trump and probably Kamala Harris are that it is over. There's no more to do. We're going to be just waiting for the vote tallies. Trump and Kamala Harris spent their final hours on the campaign trail making closing arguments in the swing states. Trump held a rally in Michigan, a state that he lost to Joe Biden narrowly in 2020. Thousands of enthusiastic supporters packed the Van Andel Arena in downtown Grand Rapids for a rally that didn't end until after 2 in the morning. Trump riled up his supporters, even bringing out conservative personality Megyn Kelly. Let's watch.
Last point. What I don't want, what I don't think you want, is the left's version of masculinity. You see that ad they did about Trump voters trying to encourage women to lie to their husbands so that they could vote for her instead of Trump? That's their version of what marriage looks like. An overbearing husband who bullies his wife into saying she voted one way as opposed to an honest, open relationship. Oh, wait, I'm talking about Kamala and Doug. Okay, sorry. Where was that story?
The Trump clan joined the former president on stage in Michigan. His daughter Ivanka Trump was not there.
Harris delivered her last pitch from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Lady Gaga performed ahead of the vice president's speech. Here she is speaking from the famous Rocky Stairs. Let's watch.
So America, it comes down to this. One more day, just one more day in the most consequential election of our lifetime, and the momentum is on our side.
And it could be. According to Nate Silver's final forecast, Harris tops Trump by less than 0.1 of a percentage point. It's the first time she pulled ahead in the famed pollster's forecast since October 16th. Silver writes, quote, "The race is literally closer than a coin flip. Empirically, heads wins 50.5% of the time, more than Harris's 50.015%.
So I want to dig into that. I cite Nate Silver often on this show. That's because I find him to be a very credible person on these issues. So he ran the simulation, I think he said like 80,000 times last night. And yeah, she won just a hair's more than 50% of the time. He was a hair under, but there are actually a couple occurrences in that simulation where they had an exact 269 tie. And we're going to talk a little bit later in the show about our own predictions. Spoiler, my prediction is pretty close to the 269 tie, but we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Spoiler minus.
Yeah, yours, well, we'll definitely talk about your prediction. Anyway, this is a very close election for all intents and purposes. I was reflecting that this is probably the first election since like 2000 when I was in, I think in 2000 I was in the 6th grade, where I didn't know, I didn't have a confidence who was going to be the winner. Obviously I was wrong in 2016, but every other election I thought I knew who was going to win. This one I really don't. It's crazy.
So my dad, right before we started, he's so funny. He used to text me new words when I was a kid, and I haven't gotten a text from him, a new word, since I could start speaking the English language. And he texted me today, a new word is psephology, which is the study of elections and voting. And so that is what we're doing today. We are psephologizing, I guess. Psephologizing.
Sounds painful.
I mean, this is
and it is.
It is incredibly painful. We're going to be doing it all night. It's going to be a blast.
Yes.
The things that I'm watching, as I'm sure you are too, is just, is this going to be record turnout? Is it going to be record turnout compared to 2020? In 2020, we had 100 million early votes cast. As of yesterday afternoon, we were at 79 million early votes cast. We're seeing the numbers with women doubling in many states to men, which has never happened. And women do turn out more than men do, and especially as they get older. But the men that are over the age of 50, as we discussed yesterday, are leaning more towards Harris right now. So I actually think it's not going to be as close as predicted. I think the pollsters have over-adjusted based on 2016, which was 8 years ago. Demographics have shifted. We'll talk more about our predictions later.
Well, let's save that. So right now, I think both campaigns can point to things they have going for them. The Democrats can say, they have wildly improved on their chances since Joe Biden was the candidate. Kamala Harris has run, given the constraints, given the last-minute nature of it, she's running. You can't say she's running a terrible campaign. She's improved the Democrats' chances of winning by like 30%. She benefits from a lot of favorable media coverage. She hasn't had, while I don't think she's the most effective communicator and is not particularly precise on policy, she's clearly better able to get through an answer than Joe Biden is, and she has correctly repudiated many of her unpopular stances from the last time she sought the presidency, and she hasn't done that she has done it in a flip-flopping way, I would argue, but that's not evident to people because she's kind of just released press releases saying we're no longer standing by this environmental mandate or decriminalizing the border, whatever, all that stuff. So that's the good stuff the Democrats have going for them. On the Republican side, they are running against the incumbent. She's part of the incumbent administration at a time where incumbents worldwide are suffering. They are unpopular. There's a conservative rising tide on immigration and the economy that is being felt globally, not just in the U.S., and Trump, that plays to his strengths on the things he's running. So there's a lot going for them. And then they both have the negative of, again, Kamala Harris has not proven herself in the electoral arena. She's not a ground-up candidate. She's a top-down candidate. And on the other side, Donald Trump has very, very passionate supporters and has more control of the Republican Party than ever. But he still has a lot of the electorate that hates his guts and are not going to change their mind about him. And we'll see if he can make enough inroads among these voters he's trying to, Latino, black men, etc., less likely voters. Not kind of the voters you want to have to rely on. You want to rely on suburban elite voters who are showing up every election after every election. Those are the ones he's lost. But if he's gained more, or they're people who are just frustrated by the economic situation, that's what we're going to find out.
I think this is really a vibe year. I know that people make fun of vibes, but having worked on, at this point, four presidential races, I can tell you that the ones that have the vibes, that's energy, that's excitement. There's a big joke about whether or not signs on this, your lawn signs, your yard signs work or not, but it often shows passion. And I think that's something in this data-focused world, a lot of politicians and campaigns have over-relied on data, and that's actually how we got into 2016 was, they missed the mark not only on opening up offices in places like Wisconsin, but also taking vibes for granted. And I will say that Kamala Harris has really taken hold of that. She has a lot of the same team from 2016, which is surprising, but I think that they've learned their lessons. And to be able to do that in 3 months, every campaign is going to have mistakes. Every campaign is going to have flip-flopping, and they're going to say the wrong things, and the media is going to go after them, and there's going to be all sorts of crises that happen on campaigns. But the unforced errors are obviously what you need to be concerned about, and I think they've had a really good grasp of not, basically putting her foot in her mouth, like the event at MSG. And I think the MSG event is really going to be the turn for this election.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we will find out. We've got lots more to talk about on the show today, including our predictions, our electoral maps. We made them for accountability and or gloating and or later humiliation. Stay tuned.
I made mine 4 minutes ago, guys. 4 minutes ago.
We'll talk about it. Stay with us.